picture of me doing a knife edge pass by the LSO platform. And there's a lot of the statements say, well, I got in trouble and the pilot got in trouble and was grounded, and that's not the case at all. It was actually the opening move to my at-sea flight demo. So I got away with a lot of stuff at that time.
It was a sexy looking thing. It was certainly a lot sexier than some of the other airplanes in the air wing. I also liked the way they were structured. It was almost like being in a motorcycle gang, only we fly airplanes.
How many Tomcat peeps does it take to change a light bulb? Scar?
I have no idea.
It takes 4.
4?
1 to actually change the light bulb, and 3 to stand around and talk about how great the old light bulb used to be.
I've got so many stories, you know, like I've got 9 lives.
We came that close to getting killed, never knew it. It was bizarre.
As I turned around and kind of braced myself for the impact of the airplane, as it was breaking apart and just engulfing the landing area.
Was our CAG. He put together a team to lead the very first strike of non-stealth aircraft into Baghdad. It was crazy. The element that I led the very first night of Operation Iraqi Freedom, you all probably know that as shock and awe.
Fun night.
Fun night.
So let's move backwards in time a little bit to, you know, one of the most iconic movies that come out, I think, aviation movies, is Top Gun. And obviously there's a new one coming out now, and hopefully from the trailer I see, it's got some awesome footage in it.
I'm one of the few folks that had the opportunity to be in the Top Gun movie and attend the Top Gun course.
In the 1980s, the F-14 Tomcat exploded onto the silver screen and became Hollywood's favorite fighter. Fans around the world would soon learn about those who flew her. And their bigger-than-life stories seemed like they were right out of Hollywood. The Tomcat would draw thousands of fans to air shows across the country.
My favorite thing about the Tomcat, I had great timing. I checked in and they had only the A models, and then our squadron, BF-24, was the first one to get the A+, so now I got to fly with the big GE motors, and then went over to be a RAG instructor right about the time the D was rolling out, and then got to fly the F-14D, which was just an amazing airplane. Tons of power, big GE 110 engines, and it was just a amazing airplane performance-wise.
The jet was a god.
And the new D model had all the electronic displays up front. It was just it was a joy to fly. Of course, you know, we were young and getting the newest airplane in the fleet. It was really a pretty cool thing to be honored to be able to fly that.
A beast.
And then, of course, Smut and I got to fly that for the air show for a couple of years. So
there was only 2 crews on each coast. So it was pretty exclusive to be one of the air show crews. So the West Coast, BF-124, our 2 crews handled everything west of the Mississippi, and there's lots of great shows. So.
Get the line. Remember the speed tag. Yep, there's 90. Got the turn made. 0.65, 0.7. Wings are coming out. They're coming. 0.8. 68 degrees, 0.85.
In the Tomcat demo, the new D model, it was just overpowered and it was a rocket. So part of the maneuver, and Randy Pogo Clark designed this whole air show. So, and he was an ex-Blue Angel, so it was really an amazing show in and of itself. One of the maneuvers, you came by at just under supersonic. I think Smut was yelling .99, and that was my cue that I better start pulling up. We didn't want a repeat of the 70s Miramar Air Show where they went over UTC.
0.9, 91, 2, 95. Not a blower. Hit it, Dennis. Good roll rate. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little more. Out half. Wings are moving. Okay. Wings should be out.
So they oriented the show back east, and we started doing our high-speed climb and rolling all the way up, and we started having a fuel split. So we had to knock the air show off momentarily while we sorted out the fuel split, and then pick it back up kind of where we left off. We were up at altitude, so we had a couple seconds where most of the crowd couldn't see, and we sorted that out and dove right back in. So, here we were back and flying the air shows and doing the circuit around the country, and we got asked to come do an Aspen air show.
Aspen.
And we thought, wow, we've never done an air show at a field like Aspen. It's in the mountains. It's going to be very tight maneuvering. And so we flew up there to do the first ever Aspen air show in the D model Tomcat. Plenty of power for the high altitude. So Smut and I took off and started this air show. A lot of mountains around, so we were supposed to be, somewhere between 300 and 500 feet for the air show. And of course, the better the crowd, the lower we got. And the problem in Aspen is that the terrain went up on both sides of the runway quite steeply. And if you went off to the west side of it, the vertical was, pure vertical. Off the left side, it went up about 300 feet, and then it leveled off, and there were houses. So there were some famous people in the audience.
We're in that 6G burner turn, and he's changing elevation of the aircraft. And when you're a backseat guy, whether you're a student or instructor or a fleet guy, you don't ever want to hear the pilot saying any dirty language, because that's usually something bad with the aircraft. So I hear, God damn it. I'm like, what? He's like, look at the size of that, in the 6G turn, look at the size of that pool down there. I'm like, oh man, he was an amazing pilot. So
we were flying in this, 360 min radius turn, and the houses were quite impressive. And I think we were probably
big pools,
50 feet tops. 90-degree angle,
whatever the legal minimum was.
Well, the train went up. We were doing our level turn. We were climbing the turn, and it was impressive.
Mingle and stuff. I don't think we met Goldie and Kurt though.
They left, but there was plenty of other nice people to meet in the crowd.
Yeah.
Had a good time there. The air show was quite a fun tour. Every weekend, a different spot. Got to go on the road, and of course, we were young and crazy and single, so the times were good. You really thought you were pretty cool.
We were pretty cool.
And you weren't cool, but you thought you were.
500 feet. 6.5. 500 to go. Out. Pause it here. And back in. Devices should be out. Wait for the 310. Devices should be out. They're out.
The geopolitical tensions between the Communist Soviet Union and the United States gave rise to the Navy initiating the Naval Fighter Experimental Program, VFX. Grumman Aerospace Corporation won the contract, giving the Navy the most advanced technical fighter in the world, the F-14 Tomcat.